All right. Good morning, my darlings. Today we are going to read the Sirens and Scylla and Charybdis. We just finished yesterday The Land of the Dead, which, as we know, is part of our epic heroes' journey. It's part of the cycle that they have to go through, where they go down to the underworld, or they face death, or something along those lines. So Odysseus went to the underworld. He sacrificed a lamb and a ewe, and the blood was there for Tiresias to drink from, so that Tiresias could talk to Odysseus and give him some warnings about what is to come. Now, Odysseus and his men are going to return actually to Circe's island, which might seem a little bit odd, but it's important that they do because she has more information to share with Odysseus. Now, unfortunately, the system that I'm using does not allow me to scroll up and down and continue recording. So you're going to look at this picture and listen to my voice, but it's a good thing you have it in OneNote and you can listen as I read. Okay? All right, so the Sirens. Odysseus and his men return to Circe's island, where Circe warns Odysseus of the perils that await him. In the following passage, Odysseus, quoting Circe, is still speaking at Alcinous's court. So this is still part of that flashback that Odysseus is sharing at the court and catching everybody up with what's happened to him for the last 10 years. Listen with care to this now, and a god will arm your mind. Square in your ship's path are sirens, crying beauty to bewitch men coasting by. Woe to the innocent who hears that sound. He will not see his lady nor his children in joy, crowding about him home from sea. The sirens will sing his mind away on their sweet meadow lolling. There are bones of dead men rotting in a pile beside them, and flayed skins shrivel around the spot. Steer wide, keep well to seaward. Plug your oarsmen's ears with beeswax kneaded soft. None of the rest should hear that song. But if you wish to listen, let the men tie you in the lugger, hand and foot, back to the mast, lashed to the mast, so you may hear those harpies' thrilling voices. Shout as you will, begging to be untied, your crew must only twist more line around you and keep their stroke up till the singers fade. So that's the first warning about what Odysseus and his men are going to face. And Circe, actually, in different texts, she recommends to Odysseus that he listen to what the sirens have to say, that he be tied to the mast so he can't escape or try to dive overboard or anything like that, and so that he can hear what they have to say, because they say that the sirens will sing to you of your greatest desire or your truest desire. And so that is why so many sailors abandon ship to go to the sirens. So Circe continues her warning, and it's about the next peril lies between two headlands. That means two pieces of land. Circe continues delivering her warning. That is the den of Scylla, where she yaps abominably, a newborn whelp's cry. Though she is huge and monstrous, god or man, no one could look on her in joy. Her legs, and there are 12, are like great tentacles, unjointed, and upon her serpent necks are borne 6 heads like nightmares of ferocity, with triple serried rows of fangs and deep gullets of black death. Half her length, she sways her heads in air, outside her horrid cleft, hunting the sea around that promontory for dolphins, dogfish, or what bigger game thundering amphitrite feeds in thousands. and no ship's company can claim to have passed her without loss and grief. She takes from every ship 1 man for every gullet. The opposite point seems more a tongue of land you'd touch with a good bowshot at the Narrows. A great wild fig, a shaggy mass of leaves, grows on it, and Charybdis lurks below to swallow down the dark sea tide. 3 times from dawn to dusk she spews it up and sucks it down again 3 times, a whirling maelstrom. If you come upon her then, the god who makes earth tremble could not save you. No, hug the cliff of Scylla, take your ship through on a racing stroke. Better to mourn 6 men than lose them all, and the ship too. Then you will coast Thrinacia, the island where Helios's cattle graze, fine herds and flocks of goodly sheep. The herds and flocks are 7, with 50 beasts in each. No lambs are dropped, or calves, and these fat cattle never die. Now, give those kine a wide berth. Keep your thoughts intent upon your course for home, and hard seafaring brings you all to Ithaca. But if you raid the Beeves, I see destruction for ship and crew. Okay, so Odysseus and his men are warned. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. Odysseus is warned about the Sirens and also about Scylla and Charybdis. And Scylla is the 6-headed monster, and she always takes one of the men, or 1 man for each head to feed herself. But Charybdis is a whirlpool, and that's what it means by she sucks the water down and then vomits it back up 3 times a day. So it's a whirlpool, kind of like Yosemite with the geyser. Old Faithful. So she sucks it down and spits it back up 3 times a day. All right. And if they sail too close to Charybdis, everybody will die. The entire ship will be destroyed. All righty. So that's why Circe recommends that they travel close to Scylla instead. And then that way, only 6 of the men will die. Okay. And then lastly, she warns about Thrinacia, the island of Helios, where his cattle are, and that they avoid that island if at all possible, but then not to eat. If they end up on the island, don't eat the cattle. All right. Okay. So the Ithacans set off. Odysseus does not tell his men of Circe's last prophecy, that he will be the only survivor of their long journey. Still speaking to Alcinous's court, Odysseus continues his tale. So now this is just Odysseus talking. He's not repeating what Circe said. The crew being now silent before me, I addressed them, sore at heart. Dear friends, more than 1 man or 2 should know those things Circe foresaw for us and shared with me. So let me tell her forecast. Then we die with our eyes open, if we are going to die, or know what death we baffle if we can. Sirens weaving a haunting song over the sea we are to shun, she said, and their green shore all sweet with clover. Yet she urged that I alone should listen to their song. Therefore, you are to tie me up, tight as a splint, erect along the mast, lashed to the mast. And if I shout and beg to be untied, take more turns of the rope to muffle me. I rather dwelt on this part of the forecast, while our good ship made time, bound outward down the wind for the strange island of Sirens. Then, all at once, the wind fell, and a calm came over all the sea, as though some power lulled the swell. The crew were on their feet briskly to furl the sail and stow it. Then, each in place, they poised the smooth oar blades and sent the white foam scudding by. I carved a massive cake of beeswax into bits and rolled them in my hands until they softened. no long task, for a burning heat came down from Helios, lord of high noon. Going forward, I carried wax along the line and laid it thick on their ears. They tied me up then, plumb amidships, back to the mast, lashed to the mast, and took themselves again to rowing. Soon, as we came smartly within hailing distance, the two Sirens, noting our fast ship off their point, made ready, and they sang. The lovely voices and ardor appealing over the water made me crave to listen. I tried to say, "Untie me!" to the crew, jerking my brows, but they bent steady to the oars. Then Paramedes got to his feet, he and Eurylochus, and passed more line about to hold me still. So all rowed on, until the Sirens dropped under the sea rim, and their singing dwindled away. My faithful company rested on their oars now, peeling off the wax that I had laid thick on their ears, then set me free. But scarcely had that island faded in blue air when I saw smoke and white water, with sound of waves and tumult, a sound the men heard, and it terrified them. Oars flew from their hands, the blades went knocking wild alongside till the ship lost way, with no oar blades to drive her through the water. Well, I walked up and down from bow to stern, trying to put heart into them, standing over every oarsman, saying gently, "Friends, have we never been in danger before this? More fearsome is it now than when the Cyclops penned us in his cave? What power he had! Did I not keep my nerve and use my wits to find a way out for us? Now I say, by hook or crook, this peril too shall be something that we remember. Heads up, lads! We must obey the orders as I give them. Get the oar shafts in your hands and lie back hard on your benches. Hit these breaking seas. Zeus, help us pull away before we founder. You at the tiller, listen and take in all that I say. The rudders are your duty. Keep her out of the combers and the smoke. Steer for that headland. Watch the drift, or we fetch up in the smother and you drown us." That was all, and it brought them round to action. But as I sent them on towards Scylla, I told them nothing, as they could do nothing. They would have dropped their oars again in panic, to roll for cover under the decking. Circe's bidding against arms had slipped my mind, so I tied on my cuirass and took up 2 heavy spears, then made my way along to the foredeck, thinking to see her first from there, the monster of the grey rock, harboring torment for my friends. I strained my eyes upon that cliffside veiled in cloud, but nowhere could I catch sight of her. I'm going to pause here because I need to start a second recording.